right, guys?
I was just chilling, had a month without any tournaments, so I was actually playing a lot of Faceit with Nico and some of our friends. So yeah, it was pretty chill, and obviously I have my little house project running, so got to spend some time with family and friends as well. So that was nice, even though I would have liked to play the last few tournaments as well.
Yeah, so I was still ill when we came back from the tournament for 2 more weeks, but luckily my mom is a nurse, so she literally healed me for the 2 weeks, and I went to London. And I just chilled there, saw London again, and realized how bad it looks compared to where I live right now. And just chilled with the family, then came back home and did some other stuff than play CS, to be honest, to complete reset.
Yeah, I caught COVID as well in the break.
That's true, yeah.
And that's actually good that I got it in the break, so I didn't have to have it at the tournament. So that was nice.
What did you do, Kasper?
I was just living the family life, being with my family and friends, refreshing and energy to be gained for the new season. It was a long season, even though we didn't play all the tournaments. It still felt pretty long because of COVID situation, back and forth, traveling, not traveling. So just a good time to take a breather or two.
Expectation for the new season, I think, is just starting to gel with Nexa, our new IGL right now, and just forming the chemistry, because we are changing the playstyle a little bit, I feel like. So we have to get that going, and also I think changing a lot of stuff, especially for Flames and me. So I think we have a lot of work to do, and I feel like if we do those things consistently, then we can just look into winning some tournaments, I would say, and not focus solely on we have to win a tournament right now. I think that would come as a side effect of the work we put in.
Do you have a specific goal, whether it's not winning a tournament or something? Do you have something else on your to-do list, or what do you want to achieve this year?
I think we want to qualify for the major this time.
Yes.
That's the big one for me. We know that the first few tournaments is always going to be warm-up tournaments where we need to get used to Nexa's way of calling and just embracing his system. Yeah. And then I think we gotta find ourselves as players in his system, and then looking towards the major. Obviously it would be really nice if we could have some deep runs before that, maybe even a trophy, who knows. But the major for me stands out as the perfect timing in terms of we have a few months to get ready for it, and then I think missing out on the last one was unacceptable. So we really want to qualify for the next one. I think we had maybe a small team meeting, I don't even remember, with Jay and those guys from OG, and I think you don't think too much about it, it's a part of the scene, it's how it is, we've been a team for around 2 years, and we didn't reach some of the goals we set for ourselves, so I think it's only natural that when a guy like Aleksib gets an offer like that, I think it's completely fair. That's how the business is sometimes, so I respect it fully. Maybe even if I was in his shoes, I probably would have done the same. And I think sometimes it's not that bad. People often look at it as a bad thing, but I think it can be a good thing for both sides of the spectrum. Both for Aleksib, that he can get to try something new, play with some new players, and for us, we can also try something new, a new way of playing. And I think it can end up being a good thing for both us, as a team, and for him as a person at the same time. So I fully respect it, and I'm just happy with the time we got to play with him, and then I wish him all the best in G2.
Obviously, I learned about G2 wanting Aleksib on Reddit, I think. And I think that was the time when we were boot camping, and things were a little bit weird just because we didn't discuss it. So things obviously, the trajectory was already going down in our team, we didn't get objectives, and I feel a lot of people in our team were starting to look at, just options, just for themselves, which is obviously professional. That's what you do, right? No hard feelings, obviously, to anyone, to Aleksib. And it's just a professional thing he did. I didn't discuss it with him, even though I shared hotel rooms with him or something, just because it's whatever, right? But I didn't. First, obviously, when he decided to leave to G2, maybe things were a little bit chaotic because no one knew what's gonna happen. But I think as time passed away, and obviously we had a talk with Jay and everyone, where we had a clear plan what to do for the future, I think things started to look much better. So
I think Nexa, he's actually a guy that I have a lot of respect for. I played against him many times in his previous teams. I think it was all the way back was he in the Lions? Like at least the crazy roster. And I think they were always like super dangerous. You know, they had a lot of upcoming talent. It felt like at least that he was really good at like utilizing the pieces he had and just like harnessing the potential that these maybe like a bit more looser style players have. And I think like he's the perfect fit for our teams in terms of his loose calling style. He's always willing to listen to input. You know, if you as a player like me, for example, on some map, can be any map, if I'm asking for something, he's just gonna say, yeah, of course, like you can do it. And it just feels nice to have that trust from your in-game leader. And then I think also I don't know if he's underrated because a lot of people have already said it, but just the fact that he brings this firepower element as well, you can see it in the games that we played already, like he's doing actually a lot of sick highlights and stuff. I think that's just nice knowing that everybody on the team can shoot back and, you know, carry us through a game. So it feels really good to have a team where all 5 individuals can perform at any given time. So, and also he's like a super chill person, so I only have good things to say so far.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between Aleksib and Nexa, but also obviously differences. I think they're both obviously chilled. Nexa's super chilled person, easy to talk to. I feel like if I have ideas, like he's gonna accept them. Even in a last official, you know, when I was like, can I lurk here? And he said, yeah, sure. I was like, even though I died, I was like, okay, this is nice, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think even when I started playing CSGO and I was playing online, I was always playing against Nexa, like the Valance guy, him and Hunter. And I always thought like he was super mechanically skilled as an IGL. Yeah. He could also frag, and I think that's what he brings to the table in our team as well. Yeah. So a person obviously with an open mind, good like mechanically skilled, and good like potential IGL that I think is going to work with us.
I think the most surprising thing about Nexa for me is probably his, like he has a pretty clear view and the way he just says things. It's like pretty straightforward, you understand it, you think there is like some logic behind it. So you don't feel like questioning him, like I just take the things he says as like facts and then, I don't know, it's just pretty straightforward and you can feel that he's coming from a team with good experience. You know, he also taught us some new stuff already in terms of like the steps and how to have a certain outlook on the game. So for me it's like he's a pretty straightforward person, and then obviously the individual skill. I think he's the most skilled in-game leader I've played with, at least. In terms of like raw aim, and it just feels nice when you're in the game that you don't have any doubts in terms of like if he can hold his position or whatever. So yeah, I think that's like really.
I feel like he's super smart. The way he thinks, although it might seem like clear and simple, but there is like smartness in the way he thinks. Yeah. And I just realized like although it's simple the way we play right now, it works. It wins us games. You know, we don't have to go over the top with overthinking kind of stuff. And we can see he brings a lot just from his previous team G2. I'm super happy about that aspect, and also obviously his individual skill, right? He can always, I was surprised honestly when he started like mechanically just headshotting a lot of guys, winning the clutch, especially now in the official, winning the pistol. Yeah. So I think that surprised me even more, his mechanical skill.
Yeah, I also think like when I looked at the old G2 team with Nexa in it, I always thought they were really like skilled, but I never like thought they had like these deep layers of thinking on how to approach like stuff. Yeah. So whenever he came and talked a bit about it, like I was actually really impressed by like how he approaches and thinks about it. Obviously, it wasn't exactly like that in G2, also because they had like individuals that wanted probably to play in a different way, like we also had like previously. So I'm actually quite surprised that he was like this deep of a thinker, because a lot of times like when you get an in-game leader in, they have stuff they want to run and maybe never like think twice about why they're doing it, but he was like down to like this is why we're doing it, this is how we're gonna do it, and this is how it's gonna look. So I was actually quite surprised, like after my first couple of talks with him, like I instantly knew that he was much smarter and better than, let's say, the community gave him credit for. So yeah, I'm happy with him. The team with Aleksib obviously had him as like the core and kind of the heart of the team, and those positions in teams is really like do or die around that type of player. So I think when we did really good, Aleksib had a lot of like things and positives he added to our game and how we played. But it's also, once the trajectory sometimes goes a bit like downwards, it's also hard to go too much around like the actual problem at times. And sometimes like the whole dynamic around the in-game leader things isn't working, can sometimes create like some doubts or like maybe like lack of confidence at times. I'm not saying like Aleksib was the downfall of our team, but it's also when you have a guy that has like this high status in the hierarchy, there are always like a big ask of those players. So I think everyone at the end of last season was thinking, okay, if he wants to go to G2, we're gonna try another way, which is kind of, it's not the complete opposite of how Aleksib was doing it, but we're gonna fine tune some pieces and make it a bit more simple. So we don't have these like big upwards and big downward swings, which we have been having like the last couple of seasons, but to make it more simple and perhaps like focus a bit more on the individual, where we were like really structured as a team before and everyone was about the team, which also can be a good thing. But also as an international team, I think you need to simplify it a bit and make it easy for the players to understand and perform in. And that's kind of the recipe we are trying for the new season, which I think the players have responded really good to. And like the hard work in a simple system, it pays off really fast. Now it's just about keeping like the positive and the hard work and the upwards trajectory. Because you also remember last year when we got Nico and Flames, we had the same upwards spike in the beginning. But then we kind of lost momentum along the way, so now we just gotta like find the recipe for the long run with this type of team. So I'm really happy. Obviously losing Aleksib is always like a big loss when he is the type of player he is, and also the in-game leader. Like there's the reason why G2 wants him. So like it's always a big loss, but I think our replacement is as good as it can actually be. Like Nexa really brings a lot to the team, and I'm really happy for getting him, because he also brings a leadership style that I think the boys have been wanting, at least over the Christmas break.
Yeah.